Somebody told me John was fingerspelled, was sick. What's up? Sick. Sick for a long time. Sick for a long time. Behind. The sign means behind in senses like behind in one's work, behind in a race, or behind in development. When this sign combines with the fingerspelled news, it means behind in events that have been going on. Behind in the news. Wow, you're behind in the news. For the past 3 months, and the signs are up to now 3 months, and then the initial J for John. For the past 3 months, John has been sick for a long time. Does he have cancer? That was fingerspelled. TB, or what? To transfer. Transfer. To transfer several times. Transfer several times. Well, the doctors don't know. He's gone from one doctor to another. The signs are transfer several times, different doctor. They don't know. Well, you can let the thumb and fingers represent rows on a calendar. Thus, to talk about the last week in a month, you sign the last week in a month. Don't confuse this sign with the sign indicating prep year at Gallaudet College. Prep year. Before. Before. With a specific facial expression and head position, you can change the meaning to just before. Just before. Now I remember. Now I remember. I think it was either July or August. Now I remember it was the last week of July, just before my sister's birthday. By signing sister before birthday, it means sister's birthday. How is it, or how did it happen, that John became sick? Gum, gum. Chew, chew. One day in class, John had some gum and was chewing it. This is the sign table. The forearm can be used to represent the surfaces of a table. Simply leave the forearm in front of you after the sign table is made. Here is how to sign a man is sitting on the table. Notice that Janine keeps her forearm in place continuously. Janine signs no, and then finger spells desk, and then the sign table, and I hope you paid attention to the facial expression, meaning you know a desk, a table, and leaves her forearm in front of her to represent the surface she's talking about, the surface of a desk. Then she signs the initial J for John, then shows you in pantomime what John did. He took the gum out of his mouth and stuck it under the desk. Later, John reached under the desk, felt around, got the gum, and put it in his mouth, and chewed it. To indicate that someone performed a certain action, you simply name the person you're talking about and then perform the action. For example, John raised his hand and tried to get the teacher's attention. Later, a few minutes later, John raised his hand and told the teacher his stomach was upset. Did the teacher believe it? This is a question because of the facial expression. Patience, to be patient or to endure something. Patience. Half hour. Half hour. Some people sign half hour by making the sign half and mouthing the words half hour. Half hour. In the story, you will actually see a redundant signing of half hour. The sign half followed by the sign half hour. To throw up. To throw up. To faint. To faint. Here is the sign for the flashing light on emergency vehicles. In this dialogue, the sign is used to mean ambulance. Here is the basic form of the sign sick. Here is the form meaning very sick. Very sick. No, the teacher told him to endure it. In half an hour, school is over. The sign wrong should probably be translated as "but then" in this case. But then John got very sick, threw up, tried to get up, and fainted. The school called an ambulance, and it brought him to the hospital. His fault. His fault. Your fault. Your fault. Crazy. Crazy. It's really his fault. It was stupid, reaching under the table, getting the gum and putting it in his mouth. He's crazy. Yeah, well, using the sign "well" is almost like, what can I say? Sick. Sick for a long time. Behind. Behind in the news. Transfer. The last week in the month. The prep year at Gallaudet College. Before. Just before. Now I remember. Gum. Chew. Patience. Half hour. Throw up. Faint. Ambulance. Very sick. His fault. Crazy.